We're talking about revision today. You don't want to miss this. So, thank you for joining me here on Patty's World, where we talk everything manifestation, mindset, and really creating the life of your dreams. And today, by request, I am talking about revision, the pruning shears of revision. I use revision. I believe in it. I think it works. Going back into your past, whether long held past or recent past from the day, and revising scenes and situations. Because if we revise them in our mind and in our imagination, and keep in mind and understand this, that the only moment that exists is the present moment, is the now, the eternal now that we are in. So when we go back in our mind and revise a scene or a situation, we are recreating it in the now, in our imagination. And whatever consequences or results come from that reimagining the scene and revising it will be reflected with what we draw in and align with in our lives. It absolutely works. It'll heal situations, it'll transform situations, it'll change how people show up in your life, and it'll also change the hold or the baggage that we tend to hold onto, or the hurt or the pain, because it allows us to release. So I 100% believe in revision. The pruning shears of revision, and this comes from Neville's lecture on the pruning shears of revision. So first and foremost, understand that you're going to go in your mind, in your imagination, where everything is created to revise a situation that you've already experienced in the world of the five senses. And you're going to review it. Don't judge the situation. Just review it, observe it. Okay, that's what you're going to do. And you want to get into a meditative state as you do this, where you can be in stillness and engage your heart center, your emotions, your feelings, but also your mind, your imagination, and the feelings behind it. Although like I said, you're not going to judge it, but you're going to create a neutral state and go back into that situation to revise it. And you're going to completely rewrite it and change it to suit however you would want to see that end, however you would want to see it playing out. You would approach it again, and you hear this all the time, the movie analogy, the producer, writer, director, and star of the movie. Well, you're going back into that movie, the movie of your life, and rewriting the scene as a producer, writer, director, and the actor, and completely rewriting it and recreating it in your mind so it plays out the way you would want it to play out. Let's say that in your mind someone was rude to you. So you would go back when you're in the state akin to sleep, in a meditative state, when you're in stillness, in a quiet mode, in that neutral state, and you would go back in your mind and you would envision that scene, that situation where that person was rude to you, but this time they weren't rude. In fact, they treated you with kindness and you responded with kindness, and it was peaceful and everything went well. And you feel it and keep on reimagining this scene or the situation until it feels real and true for you. And then you just, dissolve the scene or close out the scene, and you keep repeating this revision in your mind as if it's already done, as if that's the way it played out. Again, because everything exists in the mind. We live in the now, so everything exists in our imagination, but we're living it and experience it in psychologically in our mind and feeling it physically. So when you reimagine it, feel it physically too, because you're always feeling it, whatever you're creating in the imagination. And it played out just the way you wanted to. Everything goes your way. There was peace, there was resolution, there was forgiveness. You got what you wanted, whatever experience. And you can do this for painful experiences in your past. And I have revised painful experiences from my past tied to my childhood and things that I felt were really holding me back. And I take myself back to those scenes and I reimagine them, replay them out, or I put myself as the adult woman that I am now. And I take the little girl and I save her, I protect her with the assumption that I'm always safe and I'm always secure, and that this adult version, Patty, will always protect her and save her and do what is best for her. And I release those old emotions, that baggage that I was holding on to, and reimagine it new. So I'm no longer holding on to beliefs, limiting beliefs from the past, painful memories from the past, assumptions that are holding me back, assumptions that are not aligning me with the ideal version of me and the dream life that I want to live out in my life. So that's essentially what revision is. Go back in your mind, recreate it, rewriting it as if you were the director and the producer and the actor, and play it out the way that you would want it to go. Remember, you are the operant power and you get to decide what is true and real for you. So create it until you feel that relief and that peace, and you operate from those beliefs and assumptions that it worked out the way you wanted it. And that's your new story, and that's where you operate and believe from. And you relive it until it's real for you. That's the pruning shears of revision. And do it over and over. And just watch. Watch how it will transform situations in your life and experiences. And even baggage that you've been holding on to, it will help you release old stories and old versions of you where you have felt stuck. And new things, I want to say new things, or different versions that align with those pasts will show up in your life. It is incredible how revision works in our mind, because everything has already been created. Remember, we only have the eternal now. So if we go back and recreate something in our mind, then in the now, we're stepping into new versions that align with that old story because it's playing out differently. Does that make sense? I hope it does. But anyway, just go back and revise it. Practice revising. In fact, Neville says that you can revise your day. If you had a bad day, as you're falling asleep at night, go back in your mind, in your imagination, as you're falling asleep, and revise a day. And assume that it played out the way you wanted it to play out, that you had everything you wanted, that everything worked out in your favor, and that everything always works out for you. And keep practicing that, experiencing that, playing with revision, because it's a lot of fun once you understand it and you see how it transforms situations and people and things in your life. And you will use it as a technique, as a tool, as a process to align you with all the desires of your heart. So that's really revision. It's really simple, and everything else is just practice. Like all this new way of thinking, it is really just practice. And the more you do it, the easier it will get. And don't forget to follow and subscribe and share this video with anyone that you think needs to hear it. And thank you for joining me on Patty's World. We'll see you on the next one.